Hey guys, this Crypto Mary. She does it all, a little bit of everything. With all the financial problem that's going on around the world, I thought you still want to know if your country is still doing amazing financially or not, right? So it says the 15 wealthiest country in the world. In this article, we will be taking a look at the 15 wealthiest country in the world. To say that wealth distribution globally is unequal would be the understatement of the century. Just two countries control around 50% of the global wealth, according to a report by Credit Suisse. While many countries in Asia and Africa suffer from crippling poverty, with a majority of the population being below the global poverty line, countries in the West, especially in Europe and North America, are far more developed. In fact, the top 10% of the global population has 190 times the wealth as compared to the poorest half of the global population. 52% of all income is taken up by the top 10%, while only 8.5 goes to the poorest half. Even in countries which are developed, wealth disparity can be incredibly high when comparing the wealthiest versus the poorest. However, it isn't all doom and gloom. According to the United Nations, income inequality between countries has been decreasing over the last quarter of a century. This is the first time that income inequality between countries has declined since the 1820s, which put the progress in perspective. A large part of this because of strong growth in developing economies, and especially economic growth in China, which has emerged as a powerhouse in the past few decades. This, of course, doesn't mean that current levels of wealth inequality are common, commendable. They are definitely not. For example, the average income of people in North America is 16 times higher than that of people who lives in sub-Sahara Africa. And while income inequality between countries has improved, as mentioned earlier, the income equality within countries is continuing to increase at an unprecedented rate. Nearly three-quarters of the total global population lives in a country where income inequality has grown over time and has grown in both developed as well as developing countries. Let me see. And both developed as well as developing countries, right? On the other hand, in the Caribbean and Latin America, income inequality has actually decreased in the past few decades, through overall levels of inequality are still quite high. I know my country is one of them, Haiti, but it's okay, we'll survive. This wealth inequality can be seen in the fact that wealth is more and more being consolidated at the top. Since the Great Recession in 2008-2009, which affected most countries in the world, the wealth of billionaires has actually doubled, with the pandemic years being particularly beneficial for billionaires. The richest people in the world have added tens of billions each to their wealth. Some countries' wealth comes from natural resources, but the main source of wealth is technological superiority and education. The wealthiest countries in the world are also the most developed countries in the world. Few people will be surprised to see these countries on the list, considering their dominance in global economics. Developed economics have advanced infrastructures which enable growth and does not require as much investment as compared to countries where infrastructure isn't developed and needs to basically be built from scratch and completely overhauled. Developing countries, let's see, hold on guys, I gotta go back. Developing economies takes on major loans and then have to pay them back with interest which they can barely afford. This is where China comes in. After Suriname fell to make its debt payment, China Bank immediately got money from Suriname's account. China has invested more than 65 billion in Pakistan, considered to be one of the most important developing economies because of the size of the country and its population. After Pakistan faced devastating floods that affected more than 30 million people, it has struggled to pay off its loan to the second biggest economy in the world. While the deep and necessary relationship between the two countries, India and Pakistan, both have tense political ties with India, has ensured that China has not called on its debt yet. The country could do so anytime. Wow. It looked like China is I can't say the word, a drug dealer. He's just going around collecting. Perhaps the biggest cautionary tale here is that Sri Lanka, whose economy imploded in 2019 in a crisis that is still ongoing. 20 years ago, China loaned $1 billion to Sri Lanka. Let me spell it for you guys. It's SRILANKA, to build a new port, which would boost the country's economy. However, the port wasn't profitable for the government, which in turn failed to pay back loans to China. Oh my God. Everybody owes China? What the hell is going on? In 2007, China took over the port's operation on a 99-year lease, basically foreclosing on the port. This example has long been touted by the West as the Chinese debt traps, which is increasing Chinese influence in emerging markets, and it's making developing economies susceptible to Chinese interference. All these instances are continue to ensure that the gap between wealthy and emerging nations continue to increase. China is a dealer. They go around, loan people money, and if they cannot pay, they take over. This is crazy. Oh God. Meanwhile, we seem to be heading into an imminent global recession, which the Bank of England has warned could be the longest recession in the country's history. Economies are slowly down. Inflation rates have reached record heights. To add to this, the war between Russia and Ukraine has had a global impact as well. Not to mention casting uncertainty on the future, as no one can predict when the war will end. While even developed countries are struggling to manage this scenario, it's much worse for developing nations. U.S. interest rates have risen dramatically in an attempt to control inflation, a move which has considerably appreciated the U.S. dollar against all other currencies. This has a significant impact on developing nations, as most of their debt is donated in U.S. dollars, and with their currency depreciating against the U.S. dollar at times more than 20%, their obligation has increased correspondingly, which is a major burden on their economy. My goodness. To determine the wealthiest countries in the world, we have considered their total wealth as determined in the wealth report by Credit Suisse. As mentioned earlier, most of these countries won't be surprised considering that the strength of their economies is well known. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the countries dominating the global economy, starting with number 15. Number 15 is Switzerland. Total Total wealth of the country in billions of dollars, 4.878. I don't think that's correct. I'm sure they have more money than that. But number 14, Netherlands. Total wealth of the country in billions of dollars, 5,422. I cannot go into details. It's too much. I don't want to make the video so long. Number 13, Taiwan. The total wealth of the country in billions of dollars, 5,878. Number 12, Spain. Total wealth of the country in billions of dollars, 8,431. I'm not sure exactly what that number means, y'all. Please forgive me. I cannot go into details. It's too much. Number 11, South Korea. Total wealth of the country in billions of dollars, 10,149. Number 10, Australia. Total wealth of the country in billions of dollars, 10,649. Italy. The total wealth of the country in billions of dollars, 11,512. This is the number I see next to it in parentheses. This is in billions of dollars, and this is 11,512. I'm not sure what that number exactly means. I'm sure that the country have more money than that. Canada, the total wealth of the country in billions of dollars, 12,362. Okay. Oh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna have to do something because it's more than that. India, number 7, total wealth of country in billions of dollars, 14,225. France, number 6, total wealth of billions of dollars, 16,159. And where the rest of them? Let me see if they can. 12. Okay, let me see. Switzerland. Okay, one of the richest. That's Netherlands. The Switzerland, number 15, the richest nation in terms of means wealth per adult. Switzerland is easily one of the richest nations in the world and ranks highly in all quality of living indexes. Netherlands, one of the richest economies in terms of GDP per capita. Netherlands has a GDP of more than 1 trillion, while its GDP growth rate in 2021 was 3%. Taiwan has a highly developed market economy and is the 18th largest globally in terms of purchasing power parity. Spain has a highly developed economy despite the country being plunged into a recession after the financial crisis in 2007-2008 and had to endure a longer recession than that faced by the United States of the European Union. By 2012, the unemployment rate was around 25%. After the 3 decades of a trade deficit, the country finally entered a trade surplus in 2013 and has continued to improve since. That's great. America debts is going higher and higher. In number 11, South Korea was a struggling economy in the 1960s and developed at a rapid pace over the last several decades to be counted among the world's strongest economy. Australia, number 10, with a GDP close to $2 trillion, Australia is a home to the 60th largest stock exchange. Its economy is deeply connected to other countries in the East and South Asia. Number 9, despite its economic issues, Italy is still one of the wealthiest countries in the world. It is considered to be a lending country and exports in world trade. It is also among the countries with the highest quality of life. Meanwhile, its private wealth is among the biggest globally. Canada is one of the mixed market economy, which is dominated by the service industry with a GDP of 2.2 trillion in 2022. Canada's exports are worth more than 630 billion. The second largest, India, the second largest population of the world, may be counted among the wealthiest country in the world, but it is also home to the one of the largest poverty-stricken population in the world. It is easily among the countries with the highest wealth inequalities in the world. France, the third wealthiest company in Europe. France is noted for state participation in strategic sectors. The service sector represents the biggest part of the French economy and hence its wealth, while according to the 2020 Bloomberg Innovations Index, it was considered to be among the most innovative countries in the world. Okay, I don't see the rest of the countries here, so please forgive me. You know what? I had a list. Okay, hold on, guys. A list of the 15 wealthiest, because in this article they only give me a few. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm running out of time. I need to start getting ready for work, y'all. If God spare tomorrow, I'll finish the stuff that I need to give you guys. Oh my God. Yes, let me get this for you guys. They had the list. I think it's this one. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with this. I need to start getting ready to go to work. I promise you guys, the minute you guys bring this channel to the next level. Okay, this list right here, let me tell you something. This list right here says the 15 richest country in the world. Luxembourg, 146,259. I don't know if it's trillion or billions. Singapore, 140, 280. Ireland, 139, 844. Ecuador, 129, 039. Switzerland, 87, 522. That's all money. I don't know if it's trillion or billion. Forgive me. Norway, 82,496. United Arab Emirates, 81, 753. Brunei, 79, 408. United States, 79, 421. San Marino, 74, 970. Netherlands, 72, that's number 11. 72, 363. Denmark, that's number 12, 72.167. Iceland, 69.811. That's 13. 14, Australia, 69, 399. And 15, Andorra, 67, 735. Okay, so we have Luxembourg, Luxembourg number 1, Singapore number 2, Ireland number 3, Ecuador number 4, Switzerland number 5, Norway number 6, 7, United Arab Emirates, 8, Brunei, 9, United States of America, yay, 10, San Marino, 11, Netherlands, 12, Denmark, 13, Iceland, 14, Australia, 15, Andorra. I hope you guys watch, and may God bless you. Subscribe.